Today we are predicting every single week 3 game of the NFL season. And some of these predictions are going to absolutely shock you. Make sure you like and subscribe for more NFL content. Thursday night football between the Giants and the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners come in at 10.5-point favorites. And the Giants have so many injuries to Ojulari, their edge defender, their tackle. Saquon Barkley's out as well. And the Niners are a better team, and they're going to play even better, especially if their fans could back them up. We had this guy last week breaking up a fight for Deebo Samuel. And breaking news, Brandon Ayuk is doubtful to play against the Giants. Not expecting to see him. Niners are going to be one-dimensional with Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey, but I still think the Niners get the W against the Giants. The Titans travel to play the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are 3.5-point favorites. And the Titans bounced back against the Chargers last week, but at the end of the day, I still believe Deshaun Watson's a better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill. Watson was sacked 6 times last week against the Steelers. That's not going to happen again, and he was even able to handle a referee during that matchup. I believe the Browns will win this game against the Titans. The Falcons travel to Detroit to play the Lions, who are 3.5-point favorites in this game. And I believe the Falcons are the best defense the Lions have played this year so far. Lions play the Chiefs and the Seahawks. Not great defenses there yet. So I think the Falcons are going to upset the Lions. I think they're going to be wearing the blue ski mask instead, like the Seahawks were able to wear last week when they mocked the Detroit Lions. The New Orleans Saints travel to Lambeau Field to face the Green Bay Packers, who are 1.5-point favorites. This is going to be a close game. And it's not prime time for Derek Carr and the Saints, so there's going to be no reporter trying to hype him up and get a little flirty with him.
You stop. You are young. Stop it. I love you. You're so great. You're so wonderful. I'm so happy for you.
We know Derek Carr and the offense has struggled in the first half of both of their matchups, but they show major potential and they show how high the ceiling is in the second half. And this Saints defense is absolutely on fire, and it's allowed them to stay in these games. But Jordan Love has his own fire of his own. 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on the year so far. Keep in mind they played the Bears week 1, but they did have a tough matchup against the Atlanta Falcons last week. So I believe the Packers will be the best offense the Saints defense has played this year so far. And I think this game lies in the hands of Derek Carr and the offense. Can they get started early? Can they do what they do in the second half, in the first half? If so, the sky's the limit for this team. I'm going to put my faith in the fact that Derek Carr and the offense will get clicking in the first half. I think the Saints win this game against the Packers. And then we have the disappointing Denver Broncos against the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are 6.5-point favorites, and I would never say that a game is a lock, but I feel like this is a lock for the Dolphins. We know Sean Payton broke the bro code and talked crap on a head coach earlier this year, dissing Nathaniel Hackett, and now he's talking trash on his own quarterback, Russell Wilson, putting the blame on him for the Broncos' losses.
To be better, Russ has got to be sharper with getting the play out, and then we got to look at how much we have in, but if we need to wristband it, we will.
I think Denver will continue to be a disaster. The Dolphins obviously win this game. And then we have the battle between the two most hyped 0-2 teams. One of these teams will be 0-3 after this week, and it's absolutely insane. The Chargers travel to Minnesota to face the Vikings. The Vikings are the 1-point favorite, and Brandon Staley is losing his mind. The seat is getting hot. This guy's afraid he may be fired. And that is why he had a meltdown last week at the presser after they lost to the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, we just lost a game in overtime, Jeff. So how do you think the mood is? How do you think the mood is? How do you think it is? It's tough, and we've lost 2 tough games. But it has nothing to do with the Jacksonville game. It's a convenient storyline for you and for everybody else, but it's not the truth.
And this is a big change. We've seen Staley be zen-like, doing his little stretches before the game, making sure those glutes are really worked out. And now he's pissed off. This is a disaster. I think the Vikings get right this week and get the dub against the Chargers. And then we have the Patriots in New York against the Jets. The Patriots are 2.5-point favorites. And I hate to say this because I feel for Jets fans. The Aaron Rodgers situation is sad, but I think week 1 was just a fluke on primetime against the Bills. You know Bill Belichick's going to take advantage of that weak-ass Jets O-line. But this is going to be a dogfight, a nasty AFC East matchup, just like last week with the Patriots and Dolphins, where Matthew Judon was getting a little physical. So the Patriots win this game against the Jets, if you haven't noticed yet. And then we have the Buffalo Bills against the ultimate sleeper underdog team, the Washington Commanders. I have a soft spot in my heart for the team formerly known as the Washington Football Team. And look, the Bills got right last week because they beat the Raiders, but come on, dude, it's the Raiders defense, and And look, I'm a Raiders fan. You got the helmet right here. The Commanders defense is not going to be a walk in the park like the Raiders defense. I'm sorry, Bills fans. And then it's the Commanders' first home game. They're 2-0 with Sam Howell. He could be a serious steal. Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator, is trying to prove that it's not all Patty Mahomes and Andy Reid. I'm the star, and I think the Commanders get the shocker at home and defeat the Buffalo Bills. And then we got the Texans facing the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags are at home. They're 8.5-point favorites. We know Trevor Lawrence was humbled last week, frustrated after playing the Kansas City Chiefs and struggling to score.
And that's just, it's kind of embarrassing,
And the Texans are in a rebuild. They got a banged up corner in Stingley, banged up quarterback in CJ Stroud. The Jags obviously win this game. The Colts travel to Baltimore to face the Ravens. The Ravens are 8-point favorites here. Lamar Jackson is shocked that he's the old guy now, even though he's 26.
That made me feel old. And I'm only 26. Like, he comparing me, himself, and Cam. It was like, I'm like, dang, compare yourself to me, and I'm still, young, but.
And Anthony Richardson, unfortunately, will not be playing in this game. Gardner Minshew is expected to start, which Richardson suffered a concussion last week. And the Colts are also rebuilding. The Ravens obviously win this game. The Panthers travel to Seattle to face the 6.5-point favorite Seahawks. And we got another team without their star rookie quarterback. Bryce Young is not going to play against the Seahawks. It's going to be the Andy Dalton show. And look, the Panthers do have a great defense. They have a great front seven. Geno is getting his groove back. Their offensive line looks better. 6.5 points. I think it's a closer game than we realized, but the Seahawks ultimately win this matchup. And we have the Chicago Bears against the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs are freaking 12.5-point favorites. This is absolutely ridiculous, but it makes sense when you got a defensive coordinator who has now allegedly been raided by the FBI, according to Pat McAfee.
Our sources have told us that an FBI raid did happen on defensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears, Alan Williamson's house. And
we know Windy City actually refers to political corruption in Chicago, but it looks like this term also applies to their football teams as well. And it's sad that Justin Fields is stuck on this team. Who knows what his potential could be, but we know that Kansas City is going to absolutely destroy the Chicago Bears. And then we got the Cowboys as 12.5-point favorites traveling to Arizona to face the Cardinals. And breaking news, shout out to Trayvon Diggs. He is injured, man. It looks like he's expected to be out the entire year. It looks to be a torn ACL that he suffered in practice. And even though this injury is occurring, man, I still have to consider this game a lock. The Cardinals should be happy that they're able to score some points on the Giants last week, but they have a goofball as a head coach who I think everybody knows is tanking. And then we have the Las Vegas Raiders at home, first home game in Allegiant Stadium this year against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Raiders are 3-point favorites in this game, but the last weeks have not been hot for the Raiders offense. We had Devontae Adams making some odd comments in week 1 about his relationship with Jimmy Garoppolo.
A couple times today where, maybe he could have hit me. I know one time specifically over the middle, and he tells me, he's like, that's just part of my learning process. And me, that's like, you arguing with your girl and she says, I'm sorry. Like, all right, let's watch a movie.
And then in this past week in garbage time, Devontae Adams was placed in concussion protocol after a big hit. And when talking about this hit, he mentioned that his team was getting blown out.
That's the type of stuff that contributes to you not being on the field. That's why you're in when you're blowing in the South by 25 at the end of the game, and, maybe if that man learns how to play the game the right way, he'll see the field. So I'm worried because if the Raiders struggle on offense at home, I think these problems are going to start to spark. I think players are going to be heated that they're not having too great of numbers and they're not winning games. And we know the defense is on life support for the Raiders, and it doesn't help that a star pass rusher in Chandler Jones, who could make them better, he's now on the NFI list. He's now not going to be a factor. And we know he's posting weird stuff on social media. Meanwhile, Max Crosby is still the only playmaker on that defense all by his lone self. And we know the Steelers offense has been trash all year, but to be fair, they went up against the San Francisco 49ers defense in week 1 and a tough Cleveland Browns defense in week 2. And if I'm going to keep it real, if there's any team, any defense they're going to get right against, unfortunately, it's the freaking Raiders defense. And look, we just got word that Jacoby Myers, star wide receiver, is expected to play for the Raiders. As a fan, I hope the Steelers offense struggles in this matchup, but at the end of the day, it's the first home game for the Raiders this year. Got all your star weapons back on the offensive side of the football. They should, and that's why they're the favorite. They should win this game, a close game at home, and that's what I'm predicting, but I wouldn't be surprised if I'm back here next week pissed the hell off
about Josh McDaniels. And then we have the Eagles traveling to Tampa Bay against the Buccaneers. The Eagles, of course, are 5-point favorites. But the Buccaneers look good. They got swagger without Tom Brady now. Baker Mayfield's even talking some trash to players while running the freaking football.
He gets a couple of extra yards. Okay, Baker. That's the Baker.
But we know this Eagles defense is dominant. It's going to be the toughest team the Buccaneers have played all year. However, Eagles on the offensive side of the football, trouble in paradise. A.J. Brown does not look too happy with the lack of targets. And I think the Buccaneers, if their defense could stay solid, if Baker Mayfield could play some safe football, they could take advantage of being at home and a little bit of turmoil for the Eagles. I have an upset here. I think the Buccaneers are going to pull this off. And we have another Monday Night Football matchup. The Rams are playing the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Bengals, even though they are 0-2, they have not won a game yet, they are still 3-point underdogs. But come on, man, Joe Burrow is still injured. The man is limping. The man is looking like a freaking grandpa at this point. And Puka Nacua is a little sensation for the Rams. I love this guy. He came out of nowhere and pissed off all kinds of fantasy football fans. This is a man who has more yards than Tyreek Hill, more yards than Devontae Adams, more yards than Stephon Diggs and CeeDee Lamb. Only Justin Jefferson has more yards at wide receiver than Puka Nacua. And I think the Rams had a close matchup against the San Francisco 49ers, who have a dope defense, look hot, look like the best team in the NFL. Rams are going to keep shocking people this year. They're going to whoop the Bengals' ass this week. These are my picks for week 3 of the NFL season. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want me to do this again. We'll see how my record goes. This is my first week. Right now, I'm 0-0. But remember to like this video if you have not yet and subscribe to this channel for more NFL content. My name is WiFiWillie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.